Welcome everybody, and today we are talking about a very important subject. Me and Jitendra Solanki, we both are representing ecosystem for special need children families, which is called Plan Special Needs. This ecosystem is primarily catering to the need for these families to safeguard the special need child and other family members in terms of doing a proper financial planning, in terms of doing a proper estate planning, so that the special child is taken care of even after the parents are no more there. Today's topic is quite similar to this concern that every parent must be having in their minds, like what will happen after me. Okay, and we have Jitendra Solanki here. You all know him. He is a author of the book, especially catering to this aspect of financial planning for special need children families. The book is available on the Amazon also. You can have a look at it. It's a very informative, concise book where you will be able to understand many things about financial planning. So today we will be talking about one very important aspect of estate planning called writing a will. Okay, so let's welcome Jitendra. Welcome to the session. So, should we begin with our questions about will, or you would like to say a few words about it?
No, yes, this topic is very, very important because the special need children families. In traditional planning, we see the will writing. Uh, your estate planning is almost complete when you write a will. But with families who have a special need child to care, it's actually a starting point, and there are a lot more aspects to be covered. But the will writing also has to be proper, has to cover all the elements. They are much more than just distributing the assets. So I think what we are going to discuss today is a very important topic, and all the families have to plan will writing and other estate planning aspects of life.
So, before getting into deep into will writing, can you just in brief tell us various components of estate planning? Because normally most of the people in their minds, will is equal to estate planning. तो मेरा will है और मेरा इच्छा पत्र है, मेरा मृत्यु पत्र है, तो बस काफी है. There is no other need for any other component to be done. So, is it true?
No, there are many other aspects, as I said, which estate planning will comprise of. Now, estate planning is largely how you want to plan distribution of assets within your lifetime and after your lifetime. Okay. Now, as I said, that the traditional planning generally the will plans complete the estate planning aspect. But when it comes to a special need children families, then there are a lot many other estate planning aspects which have to be covered. So will is a starting point because through will you are planning for distribution of your assets among your legal heirs. But then the provision of special need child care, so how it is going to happen, what are the legal frameworks are there, those have to be planned. Your own incapacity to work, maybe at older age or within your lifetime, so that also has to be planned. Then who is going to manage the special needs child affairs after your lifetime, so that also needs to be planned. So appointing a guardian, forming a private trust, writing a letter of intent, drafting a will, and then planning your old age. So these are the elements of estate planning which a special need child family has to consider and has to address.
So, as you said, estate planning may comprise of many other components like trust formation, will preparation, and thinking about how the child should be taken care of, where he will be staying, who will take care of it. So, in the special need child families, what is the special importance of the will according to you?
Okay. Let's look at that. If there is no will, then what's going to happen? Now, if a will is not written, then at the death of the parent, the all the distribution of assets happens according to the uh, Indian Succession Act. Now, for Hindus, if you look at the Hindu Succession Act, it states that there are class 1, class 2 legal hires, right? Uh, if there is no will, then the law simply states that distribute all the assets to the legal hires in equal proportion. Now, with a special need child family, this is not what you want, because you want, maybe you want to leave more for special need child for his financial care. There might be a trust form, so you want to distribute the asset to the trust after your lifetime. Then who is going to be the next legal guardian? You are there till your lifetime, then appointing a legal guardian. So because all these are kind of a risk, we say that the law will decide. If you do not decide, the law will decide, and what law is deciding might not be what you wish for, what you want to plan for. As I said, if there is no will, the asset will not go to the trust. The Succession Act does not have mentioned any kind of trust. Simply the assets get distributed to all the legal hires. So some of the assets will go to your special need child also. Who's going to manage those finances? Who's going to manage those assets? If you have not appointed a guardian, then who's going to manage those financial affairs? So all these are issues which will arise if us if you are not writing a will, and that's why will writing becomes very very important, because there are so many considerations, there are so many provisions you have to do for your special needs child care for his lifetime. And that's why I say, the will writing has to happen. The provision of trust funding can come only through will. Any special bequest you want to do, say for example you want to leave more, or there is a specific asset which you want to leave for your special need child, that can only come through will. It will not come as per the succession law.
So, as such, writing a will is quite important for general category of people, so that the estate can be handed over to the next generation the way they want it, rather as per the law. And in case of special need children, as we all know, we have to plan and think for two generations. One is our own generation, and then after that, what happens to the special need child and other aspects that Jitendra has mentioned. But now, Jitendra, the next question comes is when one should write the will, because when the child is diagnosed, that is the time when the parents are really struggling, and to cope up with the news which has been told to them. To they have to actually come to terms with it, and there are a lot of emotional and other aspects going on that time. At the same time, financially, they are still, it's a growing family. The parents are young. They don't have much estate generated as yet. So when should they write a will? Whether it should be written immediately, or, when you have accumulated enough money to hand over to the next generation, that is the right time to start the will. What would be your opinion about it?
See, look at why you are writing a will. So you are writing a will so that you smoothen out the asset distribution among your legal hires, right? And with specifically with special needs child, you want some specific bequest to be made. Now, at what age you should write a will? I think the moment you start accumulating assets. Now, if you have just bought a property, or if you have assets accumulated in your bank account, or if you have any investment in mutual fund, the moment you own some assets on your name, that is the time to write a will. Because writing a will is specifically is for an uncertainty. What can happen? So if you die tomorrow, now that's an uncertainty. Whether death happens today, tomorrow, or maybe 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, you do not know. But will writing
Yeah.
you are doing to ensure that whenever you die, the assets you have accumulated, even if it's just a one property, only the house where you might be residing, but even then you would like to distribute that property to your legal heirs without much legal hassle. Okay, and as I said, without a will, the succession law, what it states, might not be what you wish. So the moment you have any asset, and the moment you start wishing for that this is, uh, whom this asset should go to, I think that is the time you should write a will.
Okay. And then, if that is the case, then is it necessary that we approach a lawyer or something to do the will, or whether it can be done on our own in our, at home? And is it necessary that it has to be on a stamp paper, or is it necessary that it has to get registered? Can you just talk about it a bit?
Okay. See, from the legal standing, a will written on a plain paper is a valid will. There is no stamp paper required. So, a will written in a plain paper, signed by the testator, signed by the witnesses, is a valid will. It's a will accepted under law. Now, how should you write a will? Whether a professional help is required. So if the will is does not have much of complications, right, and you can clear out the distribution very well, then you yourself can write a will. But when there are provisions where you might not be aware of, or you might not be able to write down from the legal point of view, then it's better to seek a professional help. Now, especially with special need children families, how the assets should be distributed, what is the provision to be included to ensure that the assets transfer to the trust, how should this trust provision come in the will. So there are many other aspects which probably as a parent you might not be aware of. So I think for a special need child family, it's important that they seek a professional help and write a proper will. When I say a proper will, means a will with less of ambiguity, clear, very clear, clearly written your intentions, and all the provision gets covered. Also, what all provision can come in, and what is the implication of any legal provision you are thinking of. That's where you might need a professional help. So I think it's important that you seek a professional help if you are not very clear on certain provision you want to make in the will. Now, coming to the registration, as per law, the registration of will is not mandatory. So will written even in your handwriting is very well accepted, but there are benefits of registering a will. So if you register a will, we have seen in Indian movies, when the court cases happen on will, then how the will is contested. So the first question which is raised is that the testator was not in sound state of mind, right? And there
Yes.
was some pressure on him where he wrote the will. I think all those questions answered when you actually register a will. So a registered will cannot be tampered easily, cannot be destroyed, cannot be stolen. There is always a copy, original copy of the will with the sub-registrar office. Now, any registered will cannot be given to anybody, whenever they like to. It is only given to the agent or the legal hires, especially when they give a written application, and it is only given at the death of the testator, not earlier to then, not to any legal hires. So there are certain advantages you draw when you register a will, and the most important is that in nowadays time, will written by yourself and not registered, uh, probably the will not registered. Some of the institution has started demanding a probate of the will if it is not registered. Okay, so I think to avoid that, probably if you register a will, you derive more benefits than if you have an unregistered will. Though in the law both are acceptable will, there is nothing in the law which stops you that you have to
Okay.
mandatory register a will, but there are benefits which you draw, and for that I always recommend that if you have drafted a will, do register it.
Okay, so you mentioned about probate, but before coming to the probate, I would like to ask you something because will is written, but the person may later on, after writing the will, after registering the will, afterwards, if he wants to do any changes to the will, or he has acquired some more property, some more assets, or he want to distribute his assets in a different way, so he need to change it, then what would be the case? Like he has to again re-register the new will, or he has to withdraw the other will? I mean, what are the modalities he has to go through?
Okay, so if a will is registered and you want to make any changes, now there is a document called codicil. So if there are not much of changes through codicil, you can register that change. Now the codicil also has to be get registered if it's a registered will. So any change you want to make in a registered will has to get registered. Now if there are major changes, there were some properties which you have sold, some of the assets you have accumulated have suddenly increased, and you want distribution in certain other manner, then you have to write a new will and get it registered. So when you write a new will, you actually revoke all the will which you have previously written. So then whatever the fresh will you have written and registered, is considered to be your genuine will. So if it's not a major changes, probably through codicil you can register those changes. It's much easier. But if there are major changes, then you need to rewrite the will. And we have been advising that every 3, 4, or 5 years you should revise your will if there has been substantial changes in your financial situation.
Okay, fine. So, you mentioned about the probate. So, is probate mandatory for a will? And what is a probate actually? And what is the procedure for the probate? And when it is mandatory and when it is optional?
Okay. So understanding probate is very important for the families or for everyone who is writing a will, because you do not know, your will might go for a probate process. Now, what is a probate? A probate is a process where the court is establishing the legal character of the person on whom the grant is made. So, especially the legal heirs. So now, in a general sense, when a will is contested in the court, it is actually a probate process, because there the court is establishing that a legal character of the person, of the legal heirs, right? So it's a probate process. Now, what happens during this process? So during this process, the court invites all the legal heirs, ask for any objection. If there are no objections, they issue an advertisement in the national newspapers. If there are no objection, then the certificate is issued. If there are objection, then the will is getting contested in the court. And the minimum period for a probate process might be from 6 months to an year, and the rest depends on the court proceedings. Now, so this is a probate process where the court is establishing that legal character of the person and on whom the grant is made. Now, because it's a court process, one, it will depend on the court proceeding when this probate process ends. Second, till the probate process is happening, the assets cannot be distributed. The assets or the will get executed only after the probate process. Now, it's not mandatory. There are some states where probate is mandatory, like Maharashtra, West Bengal, and Chennai, where probate is mandatory. So every will has to go for a probate. But there might be specific situations where your will might go for a probate. Now, what are those situations? So suppose you have properties in multiple states. You are residing in Delhi, you have a property in Mumbai. Now, if your legal heirs want to claim property in Mumbai, the state might ask for to go for a probate of the will. So multiple estate properties in multiple states might require a probate of the will. Then any legal hire want to establish uh, a legal right on any specific asset, the will go for a probate, right? So there are specific situations where the will can go for a probate, and you do not know today which of these situation arises. So that's why understanding a probate process is important for special needs children families. It's very important because during this process the assets are not getting distributed. Then how will you provide for the special need child care? So if the will is getting probated or might be contested for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, then what happens? Where is the money? Where is it going to come from if you are leaving everything on the will?
So probate is a very important process. It's a time-consuming process, and at the end of the probate, the order is given in the name of the executor, who is then can distribute the assets as per the will. But the important point here, as Jitendra mentioned, is till the probate is done and the order is passed, the entire assets are not available for distribution, and so a special provision should be made taking this into consideration as far as the special need child is concerned. Now, what are the components of will? Because there are many confusions when we talk about words like testators, beneficiaries, executors. Can you just elaborate a little bit about these roles that we are attaching to the will per se?
Yes. So in the will, the first is the testator. Now, who is a testator? Is a person who is writing that will. So if I am writing my will, I become the testator, right? So I am writing the will in whatever the way I want to distribute my assets. So I become the testator of the will. Then there is an executor. Now, executor is a person who will oversee the complete affairs of distribution of assets, and he is a very important person because if there are court proceedings, then executor is the one who will oversee all the court proceedings. Even the probate is granted on the name of the executor. So an executor is a very important person. So at your death, the executor is the one who will take control of the assets, will execute the will, and will ensure that all the assets get transferred as per your wish. Then there are beneficiaries or legal heirs. Now these are individuals who are your legal heirs, right? Who can claim on your assets, and also you would have written down in your will that who are the one persons who will get what amount of assets in what manner or in what ratio. So they are the legal hires. Now legal hires are hired as per law. Okay. uh, in a situation where you might appoint somebody else as a beneficiary of your assets, so he might not be a legal hire, but legal hires have the first right, and so they are the one who are as per law can claim on your asset. And then there are witnesses. So witness are the persons who basically certify that in their presence the testator has signed the will, and probably he was in a sound state of mind. So witnesses also, you require two witnesses when you are drafting your will. So the witnesses also certify that you as or testator, I am signing the will in their presence. So when you are registering the will, then witnesses also has to sign in the presence of sub registrar along with me as a testator, which complete the process of will registration. So these are some of the elements or people,
Okay.
important
And a
people
certificate
in
from a
your will.
medical doctor is will be helpful.
Yes, it is helpful because, as I said, when we look at the way will are contested, the first thing which is contested is that the testator has not written the will in sound state of mind. But when you attach a doctor's
Hmm.
certificate certifying that you are writing the will in sound state of mind, it gives an authenticity to the will. Okay, so it just added a weightage to your will. So it's a recommended option that when you are writing a will, probably attach a doctor certificate also that you were in sound state of mind.
Great. So, while coming to the end of the discussion, just a final checklist. What all checklist a parent should have in mind while preparing the will? Like what all he should see that the will is taking care of all these points.
Okay. Yes, the checklist is very important because this checklist gives you finer points which you have to ensure that the will carries. So first of all, prepare a list of all your inventories, assets, liabilities, because that will give you or that will help you in finalizing how you want your asset to be distributed. So with a special need child family, once you have the inventories, you will be allocate specific asset to maybe your special need child. You will have a picture in front of yourself that these are the assets and this is the money required, so you will be able to allocate easily. So first is that. The second is that the will should not have any ambiguity. It should be very clear. Third, you write your intention very clearly, what you want from the distribution of your assets. Fourth, if you are disinheriting somebody, clearly state the reasons why you are doing so. Because we have seen that you know generally testator writes that I am going to disinherit one of my child, but the reason is not mentioned, and the will gets contested. It takes long years to decide for the court, right? So when you are disinheriting, write clearly, specifically that why you are doing so. Write your distribution of assets very clearly, whether you are mentioning percentage, whether you are mentioning sum, so you should do it very clearly. How much money, what funds you want to go to asset, to the trust. About expenses, now there, with a special need child, there might be certain additional expenses which may arise at that point of time. For example, if guardian is taking control of the child, right, then, and if he is living in separate city, so there might be expenses which might arise at traveling to that city, and finally settling down. Now, where these expenses will be met from? So you can provide specific assets for meeting out those expenses. Then sign at all pages of the will. Do not sign only at the end. Sign at all pages of the will and attach a doctor's certificate. And lastly, also for your special needs child, does mention his disability in the will, so that the world clearly knows that why you have made a special provision for your special needs child in the will. So these are some important points you should note when you are writing your will, when you are finalizing your will.
So friends, will is a very important document, especially for handing over your estate, your property to the next generation for the smooth transition. Will becomes a very important aspect of it. And we have learned many things about will, whether it should be registered, who can write it, whether it should be probated, what is the probate, and what are the people that we normally call like testator, executor, beneficiary, legal heirs. All this nomenclature in a bit form we have seen. Now, there is one very important document, Jitendra, which we normally talk about for all special need children families, and which can form the basis for also writing a will, the letter of intent. So, can you just in brief tell us about a letter of intent and the course that we are offering to people, so that those who have not done it can visit our website and actually avail that facility?
Yes, letter of intent, in fact, is the first document which we have been advising to all the families that's where you should begin. Now, letter of intent is a guiding resource for all future guardian, trustees, or any other person who's going to be involved in your special needs child care. And there are very specific situations, like, so if you want to leave your child to your neighbor probably for 4 hours, what instruction you will give? Extend it to 48 hours, your instruction list will increase. And if somebody is going to take care for lifetime, what instruction you will give? Can you give verbally? You won't be able to give that. So a letter of intent is a document which ensures that you provide all the information related to care of your special needs child, whether it's daily living, whether professionals attached to your special needs child care, or any other information. So it helps the next guardian and trustees. Now, how to write this letter of intent? So we started an e-course where we have prepared a video series explaining step by step, question by question, where we are also providing a format that how what you should write in your letter of intent. In all these headings, whether it's family details, whether professional details, whether medical, daily living, what information you should give. So you can visit planspecialneeds.com, and there you will find this letter of intent e-course. Now, the benefit of this e-course is that if you start it today, in 10 days, you will be able to complete your letter of intent, because, as I said, we have explained question by question, step by step, how you should write your letter of intent, what you should write in it.
So, letter of intent is very important. That can become the basis for your journey to start with, because it will help you not only in financial planning. From there, you will be able to find out how much money is required for your special need child for his lifetime purpose. You will be able to write a good will. You will be able to decide many aspects, like whether I need a trust, when should I form a trust, how much money is required to be invested in the trust. All the answers can come with the starting point of letter of intent. So, thank you
Yes.
so much, Jitendra. One question is asked by Dr. Ashok Shah. He is
Yeah.
asking whether, if the will is registered, whether the probate is necessary or it can be avoided.
There might be certain situations where if your will is registered, it might not go for a probate. For example, if the mutation of a property, now in instances where will is registered, the mutation of a property can happen without a probate. But if it's not a registered will, largely the property department will ask you to get a probate of the will. So yes, when a will is registered, there are certain situations where the will might not go for a probate, but whenever a will go for probate, then the probate will happen for all the assets in the will. Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much, all the viewers who are viewing this. It was a nice session. Thank you, Jitendra. Thank you for your time
Thank you,
and the
Shilpa.
information that you
Yes, these are very important considerations.
are
We
doing
feel, you know,
such
and
Facebook lives.
yeah, thank you, Shilpa, and we'll see next Saturday with another Facebook live session on certain other
Yes.
aspect. But yes, at the end, I would just like to say, seek a professional help where you want, and do subscribe to the letter of intent e-course before even writing a will or any other document. A letter of intent is the first document you should write to be prepared for your special needs child future. Thank you, Shilpa, and thank you all. See you
Thank you.
next Saturday at 11 a.m.